Hello, what's up, people? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Welcome back to Football Inside. Over here, we talk about football related issues, football transfer issues, football previews and reviews, and then other related football matters. And then we are going to go straight to today's video. And then today's video, we are talking about the Premier League and then the rules they have initiated just yesterday about football betting. And so tell a friend to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because we will be bringing you so much content, so much football content. And then just wait for us. So let's get straight into today's video. We are going to talk about the Premier League tweeted on via their official Twitter account yesterday, announcing to the general public and then all EPL fans across the board that they have come into a consensus. The clubs involved have voted to agree to withdraw gambling sponsorship from the front of the club's matchday shirt. So this is what they tweeted yesterday from their official Twitter handle, and it goes like: Premier League clubs have today collectively agreed to withdraw gambling sponsorship from the front of the club's matchday shirt, becoming the first sports league in the UK to take such a measure voluntarily in order to reduce gambling advertising. And then it has a link that you can follow to go and read about the whole article. Obviously going to bring it to you here. And then so let's move straight, but before we move straight into the article, I just want us to understand the meaning of this particular law that the EPL, the Premier League, in accordance with the clubs involved, that is all the 20 Premier League clubs involved, have voted to initiate the law. And we want to understand the meaning of this particular law. So this particular law started in 2020, and then this is from the Daily Mail, 14 January 2020. The Daily Mail revealed that shirt deals with betting firms pays double the price of those with ethical companies, as Premier League clubs outside Big Six admit they can't turn down the cash in order to compete. So what the clubs are actually saying here is that the shirt deals that is signed with betting companies pays double the cash that they will get from ethical companies. So what the clubs are actually saying here is that the shirt deals that is signed with betting companies pays double the cash that they will get from ethical companies. So let's say a company like Trey UK, a company like Chevrolet, a company like Fly Emirates. These particular deals that they sign with the betting companies pay double the amount of that of the ethical companies pays. So they can't turn down the cash in order to compete. So in a sense, they are in a way saying that that particular law that they planned, that was then 2020 to initiate it, is never going to work, because the kind of money the betting companies are paying them is 2 times double. It is a double of the kind of money they can get from other companies that are not associated with betting. So from that 2020, they did not accept that kind of bill, and then of course it is a bill. So they will deliberate, they will, and then when we read the article the Premier League
posted, you will be able to understand what I meant by that.
So before we proceed to go and read an exact article the Premier League posted about this particular law, we should first understand or know some of the teams that will be affected with this kind of law. So currently there are 8 teams out of the 20 Premier League clubs that will be affected with this kind of law. And the teams are FC Bournemouth, Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Leeds United, Newcastle United, Southampton, and then West Ham United. So these are the 8 teams out of the 20 Premier League clubs who are going to be affected by this particular law. And then what we have to also know is that these clubs, these particular 8 clubs, FC Bournemouth, Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Leeds United, Newcastle, Southampton, and then West Ham, collectively, they receive an amount of 60 million pounds yearly. So collectively, the deals they have been getting from betting companies out of the sponsorship they get is 60 million pounds yearly. So it should tell you the reason why they didn't want to, you know, accept it way back in 2020, because they get a lot, because these are teams who are not, even though today we can say Newcastle are on their way to the top, but in 2020, Newcastle of 2020 is not Newcastle of today. Things have changed, change of ownership and all of that. So the then 2020 Newcastle is not the same as today's Newcastle. So at then, that was a huge money. That was a huge money. And then 60 million divided by 8 teams. That is hypothetically speaking. And I'm saying hypothetically speaking because as we sit here, we don't know into much details the kind of money Brentford, or the kind of contractual agreement West Ham has with Betway, and then the kind of money they get yearly. But it has been estimated that all collectively, all these 8 teams receive 60 million. So what we are going to do is that we are going to divide 60 by 8, and then when you divide 60 by 8, you are going to get 7.5. So it means that averagely each club here is getting 7.5 million pounds yearly out of the contractual agreement they have with betting companies who are sponsoring their kits. You understand? So that is a huge money for them yearly. That is a money for them, because even though, yes, a club like Arsenal will get around 15 point something million, 17 point something million. A club like Chelsea will get a much higher amount than what is actually quoted here. That is a 7.5 million, because obviously you can't compare Fulham to Chelsea. You can't compare Everton to Arsenal. So they are the top clubs. They are going to get huge monies from these the company that sponsors them. You understand? So this is a huge money for them, and that is why they were not able, or they didn't agree to the fact that they should abolish that particular sponsorships with the various betting companies. And that is why when this issue first came up around 2020, these clubs were not in line with it, or didn't agree to actually stop it, because they are actually getting something. You know, that is 7.5 million for a club like Leeds United is okay, considering the fact that Leeds United are not getting all their money or all their revenues from that particular betting companies, but other revenues comes from somewhere. So we have been able to establish the fact that these particular 8 teams get at least 60 million pounds from their contractual agreement they have with this kind of betting companies yearly. Okay, so let's get straight into the what Premier League actually posted, or the article Premier League actually came out with it. So Premier League statement on gaming sponsorship, 13th April 2023. Clubs agreed to withdraw gambling sponsorships from the front of their match day shirts, the first UK sports to do so. Okay, so the Premier League clubs have today collectively agreed to withdraw gambling sponsorships from the front of their club's match day shirts, becoming the first sports league in the UK to take such a measure voluntarily in order to reduce gambling advertising. Then the Premier League continues by saying the announcement follows an extensive consultation involving the leagues, 8 clubs, and the Department for Culture. Remember the Department of Culture, we are going to talk about them. The media and sports as part of the government's ongoing review of current gambling legislation. We are also going to talk about the government's ongoing review of current gambling legislation. The Premier League is also working with other sports on the development of a new code for responsible gambling sponsorships to assist club with their transition away from set front gambling sponsorships. The collective agreement will begin at the end of the 2025-2026 season. So it means that these particular law are going to start from the end of 2025-2026 season. So this particular law is going to be applied in the 2026-2027 season because clubs have signed deals with a lot of betting companies. We said that 8 clubs will be affected, and then these 8 clubs already have contracts with these betting companies. So they have to come to an end of the contract before the Premier League can take action, because the Premier League can't just ask the clubs to go and terminate their contract they have with this kind of betting companies, and that is why they did it. They give a time frame, and then the time frame is 2025-2026 season. So at the end of this season, no club in the Premier League is going to be sponsored. I am talking about shirt front gambling sponsorship. Is going to be sponsored by any betting company. So before we move on, let's talk about the Department of Culture in the Premier League, or because every club has a department for culture, because football is more than, or a football club is more than just a club. They deals with foundations, other things that are not related to football. So obviously they have to have a department for culture, and then every country has its own culture. Gambling is a different culture that was introduced by the Europeans themselves. You understand? But it is not a traditional culture. So this department for culture in the Premier League clubs or in the Premier League seeks to seeks to tackle issues that deals with culture in terms of sports and football and all of that. So yes, every club have department for culture. It might not be called Department of Culture in, let's say, Spain or England, or let's say in Italy or something, or Germany or something, but every club has a part of it that looks or that seeks the interest of the culture of the club, and then the culture of where the club is. You get it? So the Department of Culture is responsible for that, and then that is why they had an extensive consultation involving these Department of Culture, and then the media, and all of that. The government was involved, and then all of that. So betting has been something that has been there since, but the current trend of sports betting is actually escalating. So if we don't take care, and then we don't regulate these kind of things, it might escalate, and then that is why all these kind of Europeans, the top 5 European leagues, government, stakeholders, department, media are all advocating that it has to be regulated. If we will advertise gambling, it should be in a way it shouldn't escalate. And so that is why the Premier League has taken a bold step, because this is a bold step, because this is actually going to affect a lot of clubs. You might not know, maybe a big club, maybe a small club is having negotiations with betting companies to come and sponsor them next season, or a season after 2025-2026 season. You might not know. So it might actually worry them, but I think it is a good initiative, and then we have to support the Premier League. The Premier League is not the first league that is doing this. Spanish Premier League has done it. Serie A has done it. I don't know about Germany and then other part of the top 5 European leagues. So I think it's a very good initiative. We have to regulate gambling advertisements. That is a fact. This is a huge step, and then this might actually go a long way to reduce betting advertisements in our modern day football. Because EPL is not the only league who has taken these initiatives to reduce betting advertisements. Spanish Premier La Liga did theirs in 2021. Italian Serie A did theirs in 2019. So the Premier League is actually not the first league that is doing this. So I think it is a good initiative. It's a bold step because the UK government's current gambling legislation is even advocating that the rate at which sports gambling is being advertised in the league or in sports is becoming too much. So there has to be a reduction, or they have to reduce the kind of advertisement they do for the gambling companies to actually protect our children or protect the young people of UK and then all of that. So I think this is a bold step. This might worry some of the club. Develop a new code for responsible gambling sponsorships. Let's take note of this. The Premier League is not entirely banning sport betting in the league or sport betting advertisement in the league, but they are rather banning, or they are rather trying to assist the club with their transition away from shirt front gambling sponsorships. So when West Ham is playing, you will see Betway in front of their shirts. That is what the Premier League is trying to eliminate. But they are not banning sports betting, and then that is why a club like Aston Villa, Wolverhampton Wanderers is going to get away with this, because their sponsorship with other betting companies is not in front of their kits, but it is rather on their sleeve. So if a sports betting company, you are doing an advertisement for a sports betting company which is on your sleeve, it is understandable. But in front of the shirts, the Premier League is saying that from or at the end of 2025-2026 season, they are going to ban those kind of advertisement for sports betting companies. And that is why the Premier League has proposed a new code to regulate sports betting advertisement in the league. Let's take note of this. The Premier League is not entirely banning sports betting in the league or sport betting advertisement in the league, but they are rather banning, or they are rather trying to assist the club with their transition away from shirt front gambling sponsorships. So when West Ham is playing, you will see Betway in front of their shirts. That is what the Premier League is trying to eliminate. But they are not banning sports betting, and then that is why a club like Aston Villa, Wolverhampton Wanderers is going to get away with this, because their sponsorship with other betting companies is not in front of their kits, but it is rather on their sleeve. So if a sports betting company, you are doing an advertisement for a sports betting company which is on your sleeve, it is understandable. But in front of the shirts, the Premier League is saying that from or at the end of 2025-2026 season, they are going to ban those kind of advertisement for sports betting companies. So tell a friend to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are going to bring you a lot of football related issues, football transfer issues, football previews and reviews. Band 360 is actually going to be fantastic, because we are going to invite a lot of fans from all the top European 5 leagues being it Real Madrid, being it Chelsea, being it Manchester United. We are even going to add the local ones. That is House of Folk, Diana, Kotoko. We are going to enjoy. So just tell a friend to subscribe to this channel and then share the link so that your friend can also see the good works we are doing here. So people, we have come to an end of the video, and then turn the post notification so that anytime we post a video, you will be the first person to receive it. So thank you, peace out.